Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go.
Welcome to episode 81. We've decided to have a podcast beer. Every 81 episodes, we start with a podcast. So we'll see you next time at episode 162.
162, here we come.
How you doing, BK?
I am doing fantastic, Lars. It has been a great week. It has been a very rewarding week, and I'm feeling very good. I'm very tired, but I'm feeling very good.
That sounds like a beer buzz talking. Yes.
Probably is.
We got to shout out our neighbors here at Eastbound Brewery. So what happened is they sent me an emergency message. They're open mic tonight. They were short one wireless mic. So I loaned them a mic and then they brought us some beer here as a nice thank you. So I've got Let's Go Exploring, a double dry hopped IPA with pine, citrus, and melon. And this beer goes well with spicy jerk wings, grilled steak, and taco night.
Ooh, well, Lars, I have
Brandon?
the full recline. It is a hazy session IPA. It is 5 Alive, mango, and sessionable. And it goes well with Thai curry, smoked ham, and tempura shrimp.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Thank you, Eastbound Brewery.
Thank you.
Not a sponsor of the show, but we love our neighbors. And often at Comedy Alley, you would see these beers there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got so many. They make them right on site. It's a little microbrewery.
They make some great dips. I love that the cheese dip that they make.
The queso, which is made of beer.
So good.
There's beer in it.
Yeah, you can taste it.
Yeah, and I often think in the sketch comedian in me is a sketch about a guy who has been sober for years and years, and then he gets some nacho chips and some cheese dip, but not realizing it's beer cheese dip. And then fast forward years later, he's just a waste case in an alley. It's like, whatever happened to Lars? Oh, he got addicted to queso beer dip. He was drinking
like
it by
Barney
the gallons. Yeah, just guzzling barrel after barrel of it. Just yeah, this is good stuff. I love the names. What's the name of yours again?
Full Recline.
Ooh, perfect for a lazy boy.
Right? I am a lazy boy.
I don't know about that. Earlier today, you came to the studio early before some sessions and you grabbed a b-ball and you hit the nearby courts. You were over at the court
right here
shooting hoops. And I just got to shout you out. You can really tell a true baller by the Dollarama ball bag, or what is that? Scotiabank? Where's the
Save or Optimum?
Nice little Shoppers Drug Mart bag.
Oh yeah.
Who carries a basketball around in a plastic bag?
I do.
Answer: Brandon Knox.
How else are you supposed to carry it around? I have other things I have to carry, Lars.
I feel like basketballs aren't carried; they're bounced. They're either under your arm and they're just there, like that, or you're walking and bouncing and you're dribbling, or the third thing is you have a proper like gym bag and it's tucked away with your sneakers and your gym bag. But I have never seen anyone.
Well, because that would be like a bowling bag, right? Just like a different sort of bag. I mean, same thing basically.
Would you carry a bowling ball in a plastic bag?
I don't know. You'd have to double bag it.
You would definitely have to double bag it. You'd be, man, my ball keep dropping my ball
falling out of the bag.
Yeah, it's funny to see you though. When I see you roll up, what I think about is the people on the subway or the streetcar who see you walking along, whistling along, swinging a basketball in a shopping bag for some reason, and they're like, "Oh, he must be off. He must be off to the Air Canada Center for Raptors practice." I think that's what they must think.
Yep, all 5'10" of me is going to Raptors practice.
Was this your first shot? First shoot around in the spring?
No, I've been to the court one other time before. It was while you were in Texas. I had like an hour or two in between sessions, and so I went there for a bit.
And how's the shot? How the free throws coming? How the dribbling?
The free throws are getting a lot better. It's the jumping and holding the form all at once is the problem right now. But happy news. I learned to dribble in between my legs today, which I was very happy about. And I've never actually been able to do that.
Wow,
so watch out when we play one-on-one, Lars.
I will. You're on your way to being on the Harlem Globetrotters.
I'm working my way up.
Yeah.
Harlem Globetrotter. I assume that's how that song goes.
Yes, they just say Harlem Globetrotter at the end of it. Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Listeners at home, make sure that you share this out. I know we got a lot of actor, comedian friends all over the globe listening and watching to this live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. If you're listening right now, make sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. There's a regular right there. Might as well call him up. This is not safe for work or family, but Broiler needs the vigorous ball activity to help him as a coach extraordinaire. ADM in Budapest. Adam Daniel Mazet is in Budapest right now. What's he doing over there?
Yeah, he's getting his new contacts implanted.
Oh, yeah. He's going for some fancy eye procedure all the way in Budapest because everybody knows you want a good laser surgery, permanent contact guy. It's some guy in Budapest. That's the guy. Goulash. They're known for goulash and high-level eye surgeries. That's the two main things that are exported out of Budapest.
Yep.
Is that right?
And I'm going to give Adam Daniel Mazet a shout out because he gave me this sweater a couple of weeks ago. And since I've been wearing it on Leaf game days, they are on a 5-game winning streak.
Wow.
Yes. So Adam, you kicked it off for us. So thank you.
Clearly you. And while we're shouting out people for shirts, I'll shout out briefly myself for ordering this Laughing Vikings hoodie. But the main thing that I want to shout out is my older brother, Chris, in New York City for this shirt right here, the classic guitar shirt. Fling, 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 fling. I can solo out on my own chest. And he also, for Christmas, got me this.
Ooh.
And why? For New York.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you for my brother, Chris. All these gifts, eh?
I know. People are giving us stuff, and it's really great. Thank you.
What a life. We're wearing shirts that were given to us and drinking beer that were given it to us. That's what happens. Cheers. All right. Well, viewers, listeners, nice. Joanna Whaley in Kansas City says, she says, I'll keep my eye out for a kazoo shirt. You better, Joanna. Please. ABK, always be kazooing. You know,
someone should make you that shirt. You should make that shirt.
That was My Pony Genuine right there.
Nice.
Joanna, do you have any requests?
Anything on kazoo, Joanna?
I can play anything.
Anything on kazoo.
4 years.
Play any song there is.
Anything.
Any song.
I've learned them all. Any song. There's not a single song. Before we get down to the meat of this episode, we're going to do the all request, all kazoo hour. You're listening to Adam Daniel Mazet. What did he say?
He says I had an Zoom audition today during the afternoon, and I wanted to get your feedback, Lars, about one aspect of it. May I ask? Of course.
Yes, you may. And then we'll get to Joanna's request.
Yes.
What's the question? Actually, no, we'll do the question while he's formulating his question.
Yeah.
We'll do
I want to hear.
So she's asked for some. Who sings that? That's Salt and Pepper, right?
Yeah.
Push it good.
Real good.
Right? I think that's it. Did we nail that? And
yes.
push it.
Push it real good. I love that.
Nailed it. God, is there anything this guy can't play? She says, yes, made my night. There you go. Who doesn't want a little salt and pepper kazoo? Push it good. All right. Now we go back to Adam Daniel Mose.
Okay.
That kazoo break was brought to you by Joanna Whaley and Salt and Pepper. Adam Daniel Mose says, how do you deal with the godlike voice of the director who's participating on the audition? He or she just talks to you out of the black and you don't get a chance to see them and interact with them. And I find it's jarring as hell. Continued. What's the rest of it? In the meantime. Ooh, baby, baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Push it real good. Fuck. I didn't realize until just now how actually amazing I am at the kazoo. Adam Daniel Mose continues with, the guy gave me some redirects and you're listening to this dude talking at you and noting you. Happened to me today. I mean, I think what you're asking is when you're not actually visually seeing to visually getting the cues. I think it's just a matter of listening. I don't really personally, I don't see the extra challenge of that. I can see that you're not getting visual cues and reading someone's face, which is a little different. Or maybe if it's something physical, you're not seeing what they're doing if they're giving you a line read. So let's continue and get some clarity here. Adam says, I'm trying to do the scene and you got this guy talking to you and telling you, okay, Adam, it's going to shoot you now. And then you're going to approach the camera and then you're going to go like, die. I want to see your die face. Die, Adam, die. Is this real? Are you just upset because the guy was yelling at you, die, Adam, die? Die. Some Hungarian was yelling, die, Adam, die. Yeah, I mean, I would say the challenge is listening. It's the director is the director. So it's not an option of being like, I don't like the fact that I can't see this guy or this is weird. I think you just got to focus on doing your best. 4 agreements. Do your best. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And be impeccable with your word. All of those 4 things. He was talking to me that way. What way? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know if the issue is that you couldn't see him, if that's the thing that you mean, or if he was just being abrasive. And if he was coming across as abrasive, I would go back to the 4 agreements. Don't take it personally. Do your best. Be impeccable with your word and don't make assumptions. Maybe you're making assumptions. Oh, this guy's an asshole because he's speaking to me this way. Or maybe you're taking it personally. He doesn't like my performance. But maybe that's just the way he directs. And he's very upfront and very direct and truthful, honest, rather than beating around the bush.
I like what you said about not taking it personally, Lars, and I think that's what it does come down to, is not taking things so personally, because like that is what is the case now. Like we're not going to see everybody, and really, Adam, like your eye line isn't them, so you can't use them as eye lines anyway. So focus on what you can do rather than what someone else does, because you can control what you do. You can't control what other people are going to do, especially over Zoom. And so I wouldn't put much focus on it. I would just say, okay, that's how it went. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this and move on from it. Because now you're going to be prepared when you do have another callback or another Zoom audition and you don't see anybody. Yeah, it is jarring at first. I completely understand that. It was jarring to me when I first did it. But it's something to get used to, because Zoom auditions aren't going anywhere. And frankly, the people not showing themselves on Zoom is not going to go anywhere either.
Yeah, he Adam clarifies here as well. He says the fact that he couldn't see him was the issue. You have no way of gauging whether you're landing the scene. And then he says, I don't care about the lingo per se. It was just the fact that I couldn't make a connection. Yeah, I think you have to do your best. And just remember, I mean, it's a director's medium. Film's a director's medium. Film, TV. He's the boss. And you're collaborating with him. So I think in that like any situation of communication, you're just going to do your best to understand him. Maybe you ask a couple extra questions for clarity. To be like, that's okay, that's great. Just for clarity, can you explain and see if you can get a little extra info out of that all in a positive, upbeat, friendly, playful way, like you're in a sandbox, versus the thing that you don't want to do is where you spiral out of control and in your head you're like, this fucking guy, and in your head, this isn't going well, and you start getting huffy or puffy or just down on yourself or down on the whole situation, like, this is slipping out away from me, and I don't know what this guy wants, and this isn't happening, and all of a sudden you get frustrated, and that's not going to go too well. And wouldn't be how you would want it to go if you were face to face with him as well. But yeah, I think that's one of the challenges of any audition and any situation in life. It also goes back to your improv and improvising, making the best of any situation and just rolling with things. Hopefully
and the more you roll with things, the better you're going to be, because then you're just free flowing it, right? Like you're just allowing things to happen to you rather than forcing things upon the scene.
Maybe you even make a joke about it. Just be like, God, the voice of God.
That's good.
Yes.
That's great.
And then maybe it pops on, and then it is like, oh yeah, that's funny. But yeah, now I realize that, where am I talking from? Like maybe it pops up. You're like, where are you? Where are you? Are you in here? Are you in there? I know you're in there somewhere. Let me see this face. Or maybe it was God, and kudos to you for getting an audition with God. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. Congrats.
Yeah, hopefully that went well. He didn't like you. He didn't like you.
So before we
question,
move,
Adam.
Yeah, that was a great question. So before we move on, we do want to talk about Audition Hero.
Talk about it.
Well, we have a 3-day, 3-part training series. And if you want to check it out, you can go to laughingvikings.com/auditionhero and check out all the fun you may have missed, and maybe sign up for our next one. Go,
Nailed
go,
it.
go.
Killing it. Great promo. Adam Daniel Mazet says, I absolutely love that suggestion. Top shape improv move. Yeah, I mean, I think, the more you bring humor to things and the more you can roll with it and show that you're light and easy to work with. The opposite of that being like getting all diva-y and huffy and puffy, like, oh, well, I need to be able to see it or get a direction, or like, it'd be nice if I could see someone, like that would be not booking the job for you.
Yes.
All right. We want to do some client shout outs here. You want to bring it up on screen, BK Broiler? We got a recent one from an OG. I'll read this one for us here. This is from Reese Presley, who's a longtime friend of the studio, longtime client here, and he spent time in Toronto and also in Vancouver, and works all over the place and really is constantly working. Reese Presley says, Lars Classington and Brandon Knox have taken my craft to another level. Last month, I was in town and needed to do a few tapes ASAP. I reached out to Lars and he put me in touch with Brandon to set the scene. You feel right at home stepping into the studio. Brandon is beyond professional. Super professional is beyond professional. He's attentive and he's a tech whiz. He loves what he does. Under his direction, I took both my tapes. These guys are my go-to. I highly recommend checking them out the next time you have an audition. Thank you, Reese. Yeah, you worked with him recently. I've been cast in a handful of things with Reese. I was in a short with him called Fire Girls a few years ago. And then I was also in a feature called We Came to Wreck Everything, which has not yet been released. It's still it's in a long post production process right here, but excited to see those. And Fire Girls was amazing. You worked with Reese. How are those sessions?
Yeah, I've known of Reese for a very long time. My roommate Zach did Titus Andronicus with him in, I believe, 2017. So I've seen Reese perform several times, and it was a great pleasure to work with Reese. He's such a natural performer is the best way to put it. It's so effortless just to watch him and to see what he does. He makes fantastic choices, very bold choices, and it's always very grounded. And it's great to watch him. He's done some fantastic work. I believe he booked 2 of the tapes that we did together and had a callback for the 3rd. And I think we did 4 in total. So we're on a pretty good heater right now, really.
Batting average. Yeah. And then the thing I'll say about Reese too is he's a consummate professional as far as training. He is very often in classes, if not always in an ongoing class and taking workshops, and he really cares, and he puts forth the work and effort. Like he takes this seriously, but not in an I don't mean that in a like, oh, I got to be so serious, this is acting, but just taking it seriously, and that he puts a lot of energy and emotion and time into it. Obviously, booking a professional studio to help with auditions is part of that as well. Fun. I'll give you a fun story. You can flip us out of this mode to the normal mode. I'll give you a fun story about Reese and I. So this short film that we were in called Fire Girls, where we were sort of a dynamic duo, the quote unquote bad guys in the film. And it was written and directed by Chell Steven, who's a fantastic director, originally from the Toronto area. Now she lives in LA. Recently, she directed an episode of Riverdale down in LA. I've worked on a couple shorts with her. She was back up here shooting this short called Fire Girls. And it was over near Kingston. It was an overnight shoot on an overnight Friday night. And then we had the day to chill out and mostly sleep. And then it was another overnight Saturday night shoot. And Reese and I had, before we booked this shoot with her, we had signed up for a casting director workshop with Melissa Smith, who cast a lot of the Northern Ontario feature films and TV shows up there. And it was a Sunday from 9 to 5 was this casting workshop. But then we booked this overnight shoot the Friday and the Saturday before. So Reese and I had an overnight shoot on a Saturday night bleeding into Sunday morning that ended at like 4 a.m. We peace out from Kingston, which is like 2-3 hours away from here, at 4 a.m., expecting that we're going to get back to Toronto around, I don't know, 6, 7, get a couple hours nap, and then go to this casting workshop. So Reese starts sleeping in the passenger seat. I'm driving. We're on that post-shoot high where we're feeling great. Although we were also jacked full of coffee and Red Bull and all that kind of stuff to make sure that we stayed awake. And then I start hearing clunk, 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 clunk. And he wakes up to me pulling off on the shoulder of the 401, our big highway here. And I'm like, I think we have a flat tire. And I go to the back, look at my back driver's side, back left tire is completely flat. Luckily, I have one of those tubes of, I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a tire repair kit that you jam it in, and it pumps in like vulcanized rubber and compressed air and essentially seals the inside and then pumps it full of air enough to get you to a gas station. But we were nowhere near a gas station. And we also had to get to Toronto by 9 a.m. So we didn't nothing's open at 6 a.m. I think this happened at literally the sun was rising behind us. I also got some beautiful sunrise pictures while I was fixing this tire. So what we ended up doing, we start Googling where are the train stations? Where are the GO stations? Are we going to get a tow? Can we get a cab? Can we get an Uber? Like, really, what are our options? And it was a really fun experience in terms of troubleshooting and problem solving. Neither one of us wanted to miss the casting director workshop. You don't want to be the guy who signed up for something and then didn't show. We're seeing that as an opportunity to meet this casting director and to work and get a feel for them and working with Melissa. So what we ended up doing, I jacked that thing full, and it was all like the tire was warped, like it was bulging out, like it looked terrible. And then we drove on the shoulder at around 60 kilometers an hour for another it might have been another 100 kilometers that we drove. We drove for like an hour. And I guess if we were going 60 kilometers an hour, we drove for 60 kilometers on the shoulder, just fingers crossed that a cop or somebody's not going to come by and be like, what are you doing driving on this tire? Because it was not round anymore. It was like clunk, 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 clunk. And we finally got to the train station. We parked the car, immediately get a GO train into the city. We arrive at Union at like maybe 8:45 a.m. We get to the casting directors to the studio by like maybe 9:05, and there were some delays at the beginning, so the session didn't even end up starting till like quarter after, 20 after. So we actually arrived on time after all of that, and it was a happy ending. And we got to tell that story. It was like when you intro yourself, like, oh, what's new? What you've been working on? And we're like, we literally just came off set, got here, had a flat tire, had this crazy adventure where we had to figure out how the heck we were getting back to the city, which was exhilarating. And I think hopefully gave this casting director the impression like, oh shit, we can book these guys. They're never not going to show up. They're never going to miss a rehearsal or a shoot day. And no matter what happens, they can get a flat tire and they're still going to figure out a way to get it done. So it was really fun. It was great. Yeah.
Well done, Lars. Well done.
Yeah.
And Reese. Well done, both of you.
But in the thick of it, it was like calling like looking up tow trucks, closed, taxis, closed, trains closed. So we had to, like, we weren't to the train station. So we were like, we got to get ourselves to the train station. And then the next day I ended up taking the train back and then taking it to a Canadian Tire, getting the tire fixed, and then having to eventually make my way back to Toronto. But
wow.
Yeah, it was exhilarating.
Whew. That is a story and a half. Damn.
Story. Yes.
Whew. Well, good on both of you for doing that. Like, wow. Even just making it to the casting director workshop, like that's a feat in and of itself. So congratulations.
Yeah, the thing I was proud about too is I don't think there was ever a time where we thought we weren't going to get it done as well. Like we were just like, okay, what's the next thing? What do we call? Like it was Google and just troubleshooting. Like, oh, what could we do? I think I called a few friends in the neighborhood too. Like I had friends out there and text them like, are you awake? Could you get us here or there? Come pick us up. And certain things would have maybe worked, but weren't quite a solution. So we ended up figuring it out. But it was the feeling of, and it kind of felt like we were in a movie there too. We're like, this is a perfect Hollywood movie where we come from set, we got to get to this other studio, like another big we come from one big opportunity, going to another big opportunity. And I think it's a lesson too. And sometimes things like that get thrown in our faces and you can see them as these obstacles or you can see them as roadblocks rather than stepping stones, or obstacles instead of stepping stones, where you can be like, I guess this wasn't meant to be, or the universe says this isn't mine right now, or I think all these things coming up is a sign that it's not meant to be, rather than being maybe it's a test that, oh, you really want this? Haha, let's see if you really want it. Let me throw a flat tire at you and you got to drive 100 kilometers and all these things, right? So I think it's a lesson, and that was a lesson. I was like, fuck, okay, so shit happens, I'm going to get it done.
And you did.
And we did. Joanna says, fight for what you want. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. We'd also paid for that casting workshop too. I mean, maybe she gives us a refund when she finds out the ordeal, but we didn't want it to come to that. And we both love what we do, so we wanted to be there as well. So even on the train, we were running lines and running sides. They had given us some sides to prepare, some cold read type things, and a couple a couple different scenes that she wanted us to do on camera. So yeah, we didn't want to not do it. It's like this is what we're doing. This is great. Shout out Reese.
Shout out
and
Reese
Chell
Presley.
Steven too. Chell Steven was great. That shoot was really, really fun.
And Melissa Smith.
And Melissa Smith as well. Yes, she's great.
So moving on to another client shout out, we have Shaquille James Austin, who booked another role. So congratulations to him. We can't say what it is, but congratulations to Shaquille. He does some great work. He's one of the hardest working people around, and I'm just so proud of him. Like,
I think we can say it's a network television series.
Yep.
It is. Say that. Does that shoot in Toronto or Vancouver?
Toronto.
It is in Toronto. Yeah. And some of you may remember Shaquille James Austin, aka Darius King, is his wrestler name. He was the second runner-up at our Audition Hero contest. So he submitted a video and was selected as our third place winner. So if you go back or if you register, actually a good chance to go register again, go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero and you can get instant access to that 3-day workshop, and you'll get to meet Shaquille and see his video, video of inspiration that he shared with everyone about his journey. He was recently in an episode of the Murdoch Mysteries on CBC, which is an iconic show in Canada here. One of the hardest workers in the business, and he's doing great things. The last year and a bit, in a year where during a global pandemic, a lot of people's lives have been not going so well, Shaquille's been making the best of it. And he's also a great wrestler. So watch out. He may flying drop kick you. If you talk to him the wrong way, you'll get a flying drop kick to the face. And another shout out here to another audition hero, our very own Brandon Knox, aka the BK Broiler, just booked a Canadian national commercial that he's going to shoot on Saturday this week. I know it was a big one. Did we shoot that here in the studio, or was I out of town then?
You were out of town, but I did shoot it here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Congratulations. Boom.
Thank you. And another congratulations to you, Lars.
Who, me?
Who just had his Little Caesars commercial renewed in the US. And that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that was it's what they call mailbox money. So a couple weeks ago, I got 3 almost simultaneous messages from my brother in New York City, another comedian friend in Michigan, and then in Texas as well. So all across the country got messages saying that this Little Caesars ad that I did in, I think 2019, that got a lot of airplay back then and has renewed a few times since then. So I messaged my agent. I was like, hey, have they renewed this? And she was like, yeah, I'm just in negotiations with that right now. So I got a nice big fat US dollar check coming my way, which is, I think, one of the things for a lot of actors. For a lot of people, the end goal is TV and film and playing those type of meatier characters, and to the point where often commercial things seem tedious or maybe not worth it, or not as for a lot of people, not as artistically rewarding. But the nice thing about them is they can pay some great money, and that I shot that in 2019, so I was paid that year. It would have renewed again in 2020, 2021, and just again. So I've been getting a check for about $5,000 every year for that original work that I did. And that then can fund other creative things, or has funded the studio here and helped us buy equipment and software and laptops and cameras and mics and all that kind of stuff. So don't be so quick to shun commercials. Like, you're hit right on them. You might audition for more to get the ones that you get potentially. And I know a lot of people get very jaded and cynical about those commercials, but we were talking about this before, Brandon, is see it as an opportunity, see it like any other opportunity to be on camera. It's your opportunity to tell a story. It's your opportunity to play, to be creative, to put your best foot forward, to have some fun. And then you let the chips fall where they may. But a lot of people are like, oh, another commercial. Great. Here's another one where all they care about is look. And it's just a cattle call, or whatever cynical things that actors might say, rather than being like, hey, I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to put my best into it. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to make some strong choices. I'm going to show this casting director and the directors of the spot that I'm a creative, artistic person, and just have fun with it. And then if I don't book it, I don't book it. But when you do, cha-ching. Some good change.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about commercials?
Yeah, I think you should approach it And I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, Lars, about the Hallmark universe and approaching Hallmark films as its own separate world. And I think commercials are almost exactly the same way, because you can't approach it as you would, I don't want to say a normal human being, but you don't want to approach it as you would just a regular scene. You want to approach it with this sense of fun, this sense of play, because the more you're having fun selling whatever they're selling, the more you're going to pop on screen. And I think it's also better to approach, especially commercials, as if you're a director. And I honestly, actually approach any scene you can as a director. See what you can do. See what you can control about the audition, because then it's going to be uniquely you. And the more you can bring that unique you to the project, the more they're going to be like, who's this person? I want them on my set.
Right.
Right.
And speaking of a person who's on a lot of sets here, Steve Hobbs, who's a friend of the studio, he's come here for several sessions in the past. I've had the opportunity to work with him on a handful of projects. Actually, I'm going to go back to this one here. Well. Steve Hobbs says, oh, you've worked with him as well too.
Yeah.
He says, can you guys hide my sweat on camera? I've been sweating a lot. We'll fix it in post, Steve. We'll remove it with CGI.
Make you all shiny.
Steve's great, and you see him, his face pops up in so many commercials, it's ridiculous. That's one of my favorite things about watching commercials, is seeing people I know, my friends and peers, in those commercials, and be like, oh, I just saw Joey Harlem, who's another stand-up comic. He was just in a commercial that I forget where, I think I was out at a restaurant and it popped up. But yeah, Steve, speaking of mailbox money, I feel like, Steve, you must have just like every month commercial checks just coming your way. And Steve also was on what did you do recently? What We Do in the Shadows as well, which is such a bucket list type show. And shout out to Steve Hobbs. I would say, I mean, I haven't seen every comedian's impression of Anchorman in the world, but I can't imagine that there's a better Anchorman impression than Steve Hobbs. He nailed it. I was in a show called The Movie Experience, which was half watch the movie and half live actors, this interactive experience. And we did Anchorman live, and Steve played Anchorman and was like improving in it, like had the lines from the script spot on. Like we had to do it in the exact cadence and the exact intonation of the movie, and the movie would play and then the movie would shut off and the actors would do the next scene and then the movie would come back on. And man, did he nail it. Like, if you're ever around Steve Hobbs, maybe he'll hate me for this, but if you're ever around him, be like, you got to do your Anchorman. You got to do it. You got to do it, and just get him to do it. He could just do it all night long, and it's brilliant. It's hilarious. It's great. And to the fact, like, if Will Ferrell, if they ever want to make Anchorman 3 and Will Ferrell declines it, or his quote is too high, like, would it pay him, give Steve Hobbs 75% of what Will Ferrell gets, and Steve Hobbs will give you 110% of Will Ferrell's Anchorman. It's that good. He even did the flute scene too. He was doing the Yaz flute. He slid under chairs and up the aisle, and he was stepping over chairs. It was brilliant. He threw a burrito just as good. He screamed, "I'm in a glass case of emotion" in a phone booth, just as good as Will Ferrell. It was a sight to that for me. There's not too many times where I've been, and if Steve, if you're still watching this, you're like, oh man, they are just stroking this ego right now. And I've told them this in person. There's not too many performances I've seen where I've been as blown away, where I was like, holy shit, this guy is crushing it right now. And it wasn't just the lines. It was the fact that he could fully improvise. And often every night he was doing different things. And we had a lot of like atmospheric, where you'd kind of roam around and meet and greet before the show proper would start. So he's interacting, fully improving in character with audience members on his feet, and it never did not kill. It was that good, where I was like, oh shit. Like, you ever think you're really good at something, and then you see someone else and you're like, do I even know anything about comedy and acting anymore? That's how I felt briefly. And then I ate a burrito and I was fine. And then Steve also, he continues here and he says, wait, do casting houses watch this feed? Because I was asking for friends about the sweat thing. I don't sweat, never have, never will, 100% sweatless. Well, it's too bad, Steve, because we're doing a big deodorant commercial where we need the sweatiest guys in history. So you just lost out.
Sorry, Steve.
All right, enough about the this is the Steve Hobbs show. That's going to be a 5-minute reel that we can send Steve Hobbs and send to his agent. Maybe I'm his agent now. That's possible. Did Steve Hobbs just fire his agent and hire me? I'm this public PR person. There he says, unless the role calls for it, in which case I'm sweat flexible. Perfect. See, he can do it all. Steve Hobbs can sweat or I can not sweat. Huh? Sweat? No sweat? Sweat? No sweat? He can sweat on command. A lot of actors and actresses can cry on command. Steve Hobbs can sweat on command. He's just like,
one of the few natural talents at it.
He's got a great control of his lymph system. So back to commercial things. I think the other thing on commercials, you need to remember that what's the purpose of a commercial? The ultimate goal is it's a company looking to sell a product or a service. So you have to keep that in mind, that often the product is the hero. Often the format of those is problem solution, like, oh, my life sucks and it's so hard and everything is terrible. And then, oh, this really worked. And then it's solution. So just having an awareness of what is the point of this. Also, that might mean little things like you might be presenting something, you're eating a burger, you're going to be eating it the way that camera can see it the best. Or if you're drinking, not making ugly faces after you take a drink or after you take a bite. Like it's always like, this was the best. And
a good point you brought up to me probably about a year ago, Lars, which I've implemented in all of our commercial auditions since then, is don't shake your head. Never shake your head. Always nod.
Right. And I would say, never say never, but there are some situations where you're meaning it's a moment of affirmation and positivity, like good, and you can do it like sometimes that might be an instinct to be where it's like, man, that was amazing. But I think it's often positive, and it's that feeling of relief and smile, and they're getting that golden moment where your eyes sparkle and your teeth sparkle at the end, and you're like, look at this big smile because of this product. What else can we say about commercials? Oh, the other thing I would say too is whenever possible, if it's anything that's a food related thing, get the thing. I know that often people are like, I don't want to go out and go to a McDonald's or buy McNuggets or go get a burrito or like.
It doesn't have to be exactly that thing.
I'm not saying it has to be. What I'm saying is, if it is, I think it's better. And certainly don't get a competitors where they can tell. So if it's a McDonald's commercial and you have a Burger King cup, I would say you've made a mistake there. Like you can substitute other foods, like maybe instead of McNuggets you have carrot sticks or something. But I think it also plays, and I to your point of thinking like the director or the producers or casting, if I'm a client from a company or from an ad agency that's representing a client, we'll just call it McDonald's, and they see the arches on my little fry thing and I'm actually eating McDonald's fries, they're going to notice that. I'm not saying that you're not going to book a role. It's not going to be based on that. They're not going to be like, who's the guy that used McDonald's fries? Let's give it to him. You still got to have the performance and the look that they're looking for. But the flip side to that is if it comes down to you and one other person and he's clearly eating Burger King fries or not eating at all, sometimes we can mime it. And again, there's different, like everyone's booked a food thing without food, or you were like, I've been to casting places where the food was literally a piece of cardboard that we were told not to bite, but we were told just to like get as far as the bite and then fake it or mime a bite. So I'm not saying it's necessary. For me, I like to go all out with those things. So I've gone and got the brand of yogurt that I'm eating or the actual soft drink and just done it because that's how I roll and that's how I want to play it. And that's how, if I was on the other casting, if I was in the casting panel, I would be impressed. I would note that and I would give a bonus point to that. I wouldn't book someone because of it, And if it came down to someone else who had a better performance and fit the look, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, they used cardboard French fries instead of real French fries. I would still book them. You got to book who's best for the role. But I think the lesson is play all out and do your best, I think. And it's not that hard to run across the street and grab a chocolate bar or grab McNuggets. What else we got here? What does Steve Hobbs say? Thanks for addressing this. Currently in the new, new LG ad, baby. Loving the Laughing Vikings. Nice. And he also says, floor burn through my suit pants during the flute scene. That's commitment. I remember that. He got floor burn on his old school 70s polyester suit. And then and you could smell it too. You're like, is something burning? It's Anchorman's knees is what it is. And what's Joanna say here? Says, or don't try it because I had a nameless food item after a shoot for such item and it was pretty awful. I'm glad I didn't have that in my head before the shoot. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to eat it, you got to make sure you like it. You can't be like, if I'm doing an ad for Eastbound beer here, I can't be like, oh, what was that? They would probably not pick me because they would be like, that's not going to sell our beer. It's more like, that's good Eastbound beer.
That's good. That's a good ad.
That's good. All right, moving on from commercials. Any other final thoughts on commercials?
No, I think let's move on. You wanted to talk about what you've been learning in your conservatory, Lars?
Oh yeah, we always share some things. Today was subversive clown class, and then we had an Alexander technique class. And one of the things I'll share, one of the things or a few things from clown class because I love it. Shout out to Chris Tramantana, based in New York, is our instructor for that, and he's great. The first thing he said, and we were doing a specific exercise, but he said, resist the urge to act. What he was really suggesting to us was saying, all you need to do is enthusiastically express yourself by moving and by making noise. He was just move and express authentically with enthusiasm and make enthusiastic, authentic noise versus like, oh, what am I going to do here? I'm going to act. And I think it's one of the weird paradoxes of acting is when it's done well, you don't really see it. When it's not done well, you as the audience can be like, I see this guy acting. Or even in real life, you see someone in a situation and you kind of see them putting on a certain face or a certain bravado maybe. And you just recognize like, yeah, I see through that. You're not being authentic. You're not really expressing yourself truthfully in this moment. You're putting it on. And in life, that tends to turn us off. And in casting and when we're watching movies and TV, it's the same thing. So it's that weird, like, don't get caught acting. And he was really urging us just move enthusiastically and with commitment and make sounds, which is most of acting. Move your body and make sounds. And then he also said, he gave us the technique of inhaling and suspending to find wonder. And he was suggesting to us that before we're about to do a performance, or before we're going to walk into a party, or before we're going to walk and stay on stage, before we're going to walk into a casting director's room, before we're going to walk onto a Zoom session, any of those performance type scenarios that might give you a little anxiety, is as a kid, your wonder, he's like, wonder is up and out. Like wonder is up here above your head, not down at the floor. So his advice and suggestion as a technique was inhale and elevate. So top of your head, top of your crown. There's a little bit of Alexander technique and link later crossover there with your lengthening your spine and just being up and out and wondrous, so that you enter a room or you enter this new uncertain scenario with wonder. And so inhale and suspend, up, inhale, and then hold it. He was actually also saying hold it, like, and just that moment of like that weird moment of potential where you're not breathing in, you're not breathing out, you're just sitting in that potential moment, the potential of breath, the potential of an exhale. And then the other thing that he said was, find my happy body. So whether it's acting or performing or just in life, if you're going through some things, then you're not going to think your way out of problems. You're not going to think your way out of bad feelings. It's often the answer is in moving. So, and Tony Robbins talks a lot about this, and I think NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and using the body, finding state is our terms that you'd hear about that. But it's like, what's a happy body look like? They're moving, they're open, they're up, they're soft, loosey-goosey. It's versus like, if I'm tense and I'm closed and I'm retracted, you can see the difference. Like this, chin up, shoulders up, chest out, smile. That looks like a happy person versus shoulders shrugged, tense, chin down, everything restricted, hidden. So you can really change your state and change your performance body just by being in that happy body. So it was, again, to resist the urge to act, just move enthusiastically and make noise. And then number 2 was inhale and suspend to find wonder out here above you in the world. And he said, wonder is always, we're forward moving species. Everything is out here. It's not down on the floor. It's not behind us. And the third thing is find your happy body. Find your happy body. We literally just did a lot of this in clown class. It was great.
Yeah, I love the breath in and hold the happy moment. It reminds me of an exercise that we used to do in my acting conservatory at Windsor, which we did stepping over the threshold, where we would imagine the place that we wanted to get to, or our fantasy destination, our ultimate fantasy destination. Take a moment, see it, visualize it, and then step into that happy place, more or less. And I still do that to this day. I think it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'll throw out a couple other things because I find this class, I was not expecting how many pearls of wisdom would come from a clown class, but it's been very profound. He says, get busy being bad. So like make mistakes, just do, put things out there, take risks, and just be willing to, in the clown world, they don't call it failing, they call it flopping. And often when we flop, we'll laugh at that because it's not us who are flopping as the audience. We see someone attempt something and fail, and it may be in a funny way. He also says, if they laugh, do it again. So if something's working, do it again and keep doing it until they're not. And that's a great lesson in improv. It's a great lesson in sketch comedy and stand up, or just in life. If something is working, then keep doing it, and then do it until, if it's like, okay, they're clearly not laughing and they're over this, then maybe you need to move on. Or you do like Simpsons and you continue to do it and you continue to do it, and then after long enough it gets funny again, and then you keep doing it and keep doing it, and then it doesn't get funny, it becomes not funny, and then you keep doing it and then it becomes funny again. It's weird how that works with comedic timing. So he's really like, look and listen for laughs. He's like, the answer is out in the audience always. It's not in your own head. He says, release trying to solve situations and just do, and be generous. Be generous. Give the audience what they need. And often what they need is to see authentic play and authentic joy and enthusiasm on stage. They don't want to see your anxiousness and your anxieties and your personal issues and your fears, because they have enough of those in their own lives, and they paid money to sit in the dark and watch you on stage to do all of those crazy, fantastical things in a heightened way that they love.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a great class.
Yeah. Do you learn? Are you going to learn Commedia dell'arte in the clown class?
I'm not sure if that's going to be one of the classes or if there's like a progression where we move to that. He's mentioned it in passing.
Okay.
But I don't know, and I haven't looked that far ahead to see if it's in the syllabus.
That's fair. It's fun. I think you'd really like Commedia dell'arte, Lars. I think you'd really gravitate towards. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun name, right?
Yeah.
It's like Italian improvised mass theater. It's great.
Right.
And I think you'd absolutely really love it. I think we're almost at time. Did you want to end with a quote, or?
Let's end with a quote. You have a quote to inspire our week, do you?
I do.
Any other final questions from the audience as well? And make sure to share this out. Those of you who are watching live, just click that little share button. If you found some value in this, I'm sure you have other actor, comedian friends. Just share it to your feed right now. And those of you who are listening on any podcast platform, hit that subscribe button so you can get those little notey notes, those little notifications, and let you know when a new episode is. This is episode 81, but we got another 80 that you can listen to and more to come every week.
Mm-hmm. So our quote this week comes from Elizabeth Gilbert, and she says, "Do whatever brings you to life then. Follow your own fascinations, obsessions, compulsions, trust them. Create whatever causes a revolution in your heart."
Ooh, I like that. A revolution in your heart.
Yeah.
Gonna be a revolution in my heart. That's how the Beatles song went, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right. I love that. Read that quote one more time.
Yeah. Do whatever brings you to life then. Follow your own fascinations, obsessions, and compulsions. Trust them. Create whatever causes a revolution in your heart.
Love it. Go for it. Yeah, I was listening. You know that I'm a big proponent of Brendan Burchard, and I'm a subscriber to his app Growth Day. So every morning I get these little snippets. He calls them Daily Fire. So it's like sort of a mini podcast episode, but it's a food for thought for the day. And today he was talking about eliminating regret. And he said that one of the big things that people have at the end of their life is that they didn't fully live their life. They had an idea inside them and some thoughts and seeds of ideas that were inside them of who they really could be. But for whatever reason, family, society, other responsibilities, they never took that full leap to go all out and to do all the things that they could do and to be all that they could be. So yeah, I love that. What do you say? Follow your fascinations.
Yeah, follow your own fascinations, obsessions. Fascinations. Sorry, I exited the page. But yeah, and just to relate it back to what we were talking about before, when you're being a director of your own scenes, create a scene that's uniquely you. And I said this earlier in this podcast. Make it yours. Make it personal to you, because that's what's going to ignite you. That's what's going to make you shine. The more it's you, the better it's going to be.
Right.
So trust that and follow through with that.
That's great advice. And I think the other add-on to that I would give is it is you.
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
So I've had times in the past, and I had this epiphany not too long ago, and I think it's still something that I occasionally have challenges with, but I've occasionally played a role or either auditioned for a character and played this character, or even booked something and didn't like how I was doing it, like to the point where I'm like, I don't like this guy, or I didn't. But it's like, it's you. You're in charge of it. I'm making all those choices. So it's not like you can interpret something on the script, but it's ultimately your choice to what you put down and how you play it and who you want to be. And in my cases, some of those were like more negative characters, more cynical, just like where I was misreading into it and feeling like, oh, this guy's a loser, or he's a bad, like he's a creep or something, like things that I wouldn't want to be in real life.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like, it's always your choice, and it is always you. It's like, it's you under these given circumstances. So take control of that and put the performance and the audition forth that you're proud of, rather than doing one where you're like, I just didn't like that. Like, don't blame the writing or blame how you interpreted the writing or interpret the scene. Make it what you want it to be based on the given circumstances and the words on the page, but you bring it to life. Your essence and everything that you bring as a person and all your authenticity, uniquely you get to be that. So don't what's the word, like, don't give it over to the character. Like Tom often in classes, he'll call people out for saying he or she or they, like referring to the character as the third person. Well, it's you. What do you mean? There is no they, it's you. So focus on you.
Yeah. Love that. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Lars?
Nope. Any other questions? Last chance. Oh, Joanna Whaley says, Lars, my mom is singing that song now. Which, Push It or It's Gonna Be a Revolution in My Heart? Which one, Joanna? Probably both. Probably both. Let's go back. We'll go for a circle. Push it real good.
Now do the Revolution song.
Oh, Salt and Pepper still a thing? Can I go on tour as the Salt and Pepper's kazoo people? He does it all, from Salt and Pepper to the Beatles. All kazoo, all the time.
And this has been your Alt Kazoo Hour. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy it. Have so much fun.
Follow your fascination.
Follow your fascination. Play us out, Lars.